All right, all you spring breakers. I'm going to go into posture control. So pretty much all this is going to be doing is me writing out the chart that's in the second chapter of notes that we got for motor. So it's pretty much, it's a chapter that deals with the hip, ankle, and stepping strategies. And I believe it is slide 10 or something. You'll figure it out once I start going. So pretty much you have your sensory organization and your motor coordination. So the first thing that you do when you're just standing around is determining body position, okay? So I'll write that right here. And let me just check to see how I want to draw this so nothing gets crazy. Alright? So, step one, determine body position, okay? So now we're going to transfer over to motor coordination, okay? Now, after you determine your body position, the next thing that you need to decide is what type of movement are you going to do. So we can say determine body. I'm going to put body / desired movement just so depending on how you want to look at it. Determine body movement. Got it? So, find it good. Good green. Okay, so after we determine our body movement, the next thing is to adjust / choose what type of muscle pattern that we're going to activate, whether it be stepping, hip, or ankle, okay? So that's pretty much what I'm getting at. So this next step is going to be okay? So, now, choose and adjust body pattern. What I'm getting at, the next step will be using that actual pattern, whether it be, I'm going to draw 3 arrows. You can have our hip. Ankle, and step. Okay? So, hip strategy is activating the muscles proximal to distal, okay? Ankle is activating the muscles distal to proximal. And stepping is just activating the muscle pattern as you walk outside of your center of gravity, okay? So, important note to say that if you're doing a balance test on a foam pad, it's mainly going to be an ankle strategy, but as soon as, let's say that a patient's knees buckle or they get a slight bend in their knees, it automatically turns to a hip strategy, okay? So, I'm not going to write that, but I want to write something very important. I'm going to erase the strategy under hip, and I'm going to put it with narrow, basic support, and wide. Okay, so with the hip strategy, it's going to be used more when you have a narrow base of support, and then ankle a wide base of support. So make sure I do have that right, because I don't want to give you the wrong thing. So yes, that is right. So narrow base of support, wide base of support. Now that's going to be associated with the different types of movements. Now with the hip and ankle, you will have either small or large movements. Okay, so the ankle. Where should I write this? I'm going to write this right here because I have other stuff. Small movements, hip, large movements. Okay? So now, after we choose and adjust our body pattern, we determine what type of strategy we're going to use. The next thing that you do is make sure I have the right thing. Is generate the body movement. Okay. Put it into effect. Alright? So now, after all our motor stuff is done, we now go back to our sensory, okay? And now, we generate our body movement, and our body movements are going to change depending on the environment, okay? So, make sure I got that right. So, environmental. See, it says interaction on the chart. Let's bring him over. Okay? So now, we go backwards. Now there's 3 types of strategies that you use for your sensory for posture control. That's your vision, your somatosensory, and your vestibular, okay? And I'm going to do that in pink. So, visual, vestibular, somatosensory, people, don't get my things confused, all right? Okay? So now, all right, now after we have decided which ones, or all 3, which strategy we're going to use for sensory, we now have to combine our senses. Jesus Christ, I spelled that wrong. Okay, no. Alright, so we combine our senses, and then that leads us back to square one. So, determine your body position, where you are. Then you're going to move to your desired movement. Your desired movement is then going to be, you're going to choose your strategy that you want. Those strategies can be hip, ankle, step, based on your movement. You generate your movement. You then bring into the environmental factors and adjust and use whichever sensory system that you have to use to maintain your postural control. You combine, select whichever one that you're stronger or whatever you use most, and then it brings you back to determining your body position, and that's just a repeated cycle over and over again.